Hi, I'm Zach with the NDSU School of Design, Architecture, and Art tutor team that's new this year. I'm going to be giving an introduction to Revit today. As you can see here on the screen, this is just one of my projects from last year in Revit. This is my dwelling project that I think second years will do in their second semester probably. So I'm not going to be showing you anything nearly this complex today. It's just going to be a really basic introduction to, navigating through the tabs, knowing where you are in the interface, and understanding your tabs and your project browser, and how to just kind of get through this and just get a basic start to your building. But it's all little things that add up, and it's just techniques that I used last year to design my own dwelling project. So to start a new project in Revit, I'm going to go to File, New, and by default, when I click on New, it'll create a new project for me. The template file by default is going to be Imperial Construction Template. I don't want that. I want Imperial Architectural Template. So I'll select that and then create new project. OK. And so now when I start a new project, it's going to always bring me to this level 1 view. And so before I do anything, personally, I prefer my project browser, which has all the views of my project, to be on the right side of my screen. So I'm just going to drag that over there and expand this a little bit by clicking and dragging on that so I can see that a little better. And you can see that I have two floor plans, a site plan, as well as some ceiling elevations, and that's all I've got right now, and I'd really prefer to be able to see this in 3D. So how I do that is I go to this View tab up on the top here, and I go to 3D View, and click on the drop down and just do Default 3D View, and now I can see everything here in 3D. So if I want to pan around and look at this in 3D, I can hold my middle mouse button and just pan around left and right like that, but if I want to be able to rotate it, I hold Shift, and I do the same thing with my middle mouse, and now I can rotate and pan around as much as I want. And so I'm just looking into the void here at the moment, and you'll notice on my dwelling project, it's sitting on this piece of land. And so basically with every project I ever do, I like to create a piece of land that the project can sit on, and so I'll do that first here. So to do that, I'll go to Massing and Site, and I'll go to Create a Topo Surface. So when I'm creating a topo surface, I'm not going to be able to see this in my level 1 view at all, because that's just going to be meant for the building in level 1. So how I can view this while I make it is going to my 3D view and clicking on this top bar on the View tab here. Or I could go to my Site view over my project browser by double clicking on that, and it'll create a site view for me here in this main page. And so then how working with these topo surfaces works is pretty simple. So you place points, and Revit will place elevations at that exact point where you click. And so what I want to do here is maybe make something pretty simple. Let's just do let's say the base elevation is 0 feet at grade, and I'll click here. And then maybe we'll make a square and we'll do 2 feet at the corners. And so now that I've got these 3 points, you'll notice that Revit connects them, and this is going to be a topo surface then. So you can't really see the elevation because it's not too dramatic right now, but at this view you can kind of see that this is up at 2 feet and this is down at 0 feet here. And so let me go back to my site view, and maybe I'll do 4 feet at the other end. There we go. And you'll notice that Revit has these lines here. Those are just contour lines, so this is obviously 1 foot, and then 2 feet, and then 3 feet, and then this is the 4 foot point here. And if I want to manipulate this so that maybe say this 2 foot line here in the middle is more squiggly, like in real life on a contour plane, I can just go up to my elevation point here, select that, and create it to be 2. And then you just draw it in this way, so it's a little more natural looking. And it looks like it's maybe a little too bendy for Revit to do here. So if I want to edit that and I can just click on this point here, and I'll press delete on my keyboard to get rid of it. And it's maybe still a little too complex for Revit to get out there because it's not too far apart right now, so I'll delete this one as well. And you can see it's kind of getting a little closer. But it'll just create a pretty rough estimate of how you place your points on this to create a topo surface. So I'll even this out, and I'll call this good for now. So to finish up a topo surface, I'm just clicking again to go back to my Modify tab for the topo surface. I'll just click this check, and that'll finish it off for me. Then in 3D view, I can see that the full site is this nice little angle here. We're on just a really gentle slope. So in my project over here, you'll notice that I can see everything in color, and the ground is brown. And I want to be able to see that in this project as well. So if I want to create, or if I want to see colors instead of just seeing black and white lines, I'll go down to these icons here along the bottom left of your screen, and I'll click on this little white box here in 3D that says Visual Style Hidden Line by default. Then when you click on that, that'll bring up a drop up, I suppose, and I'll go to Shaded, and now it turns brown. And so all the walls, floors, and things that I draw now will be in color rather than just everything being black and white. And it's a little bit easier to see in this way, in my opinion. So now that I have this ground here, I want to be able to draw a like a building pad for it, basically the foundation slab that the building will sit on. So to do that, I'm staying in the Massing and Site tab, and I'm going to go to Building Pad this time, and I will go back to my Site view. And let's say I maybe want to make like an L-shaped building this way. So I will go up here under the Modify tab, and you'll see all these different lines, like you can make splines or rectangles, different shapes and stuff like that. I'm just going to stick with the normal line for now. So I'll click on that. And maybe let's say I want to start it here, and let's say I want to go 25 feet this way, so I'll type in 25 to specify that and press enter, and it draws a 25-foot line for me. Maybe I want to go 50 feet this way, and so instead of typing it this time, I'll drag it, and you'll notice that when I drag the line, Revit's going in half-foot increments. If I wanted to be more precise, I could zoom way in, and you can see maybe once I get a little closer here, it'll start going in smaller increments. I'll just go a little closer up here. So you can see I can do like individual inches now that I'm zoomed in so far and a little bit closer. So it's pretty nice how Revit snaps to exact lengths for you, but I'm just going to zoom back out and we'll go to 50 feet here. Right about there. There we go. I'm going to go another 50 feet this way. And then 25, 25, and 25 on the way back to create an L. Then I'll connect this back, and you'll notice when I hover over this with this final line here, it creates a little square over that shows me that I'm gonna, when I click here, it's gonna close the loop for me, and now I have a nice closed surface or shape that when I click this check mark, it'll create a building pad there for me. So when I look back in 3D view, oh whoops, wrong 3D view. I'll just exit out of this for now so I don't make that mistake again. So I look back in 3D view, you'll see that I have this building pad here now that sits inside the site. Maybe I don't want it to be sitting down low in the site. Maybe I'd rather have it sitting up a little bit higher, maybe elevated a bit, like at 3 feet. So to do that, a quick and easy way in 3D view, while you can still see your levels, I'm going to zoom into level 1 here, and I'm going to click on this 0 foot 0 inches here, and I'll edit that, and let's make that 3 feet. I'm going to press enter. And then you'll see on this building pad here, when I double click that to go back and edit it, in the Properties tab, it's under Constraints, it says that it's constrained to level 1. So whatever I set my level 1 at, that's what this building pad will go up to in height. So maybe I wanted it to be at level 1, but I maybe want it to be a foot under level 1. So I could do height offset from level -1, oh whoops. So I can click there and hold my mouse there this time and do -1 foot. And then when I click check, you'll see that it's got down back at 2 feet now because it's not constrained exactly to level 1, it's a foot below level 1. So you can see that I have these levels here at level 1 and level 2, and since this is sitting a foot below level 1, when I draw a floor there, it'll sit exactly at level 1 and sit on top of the building pad rather than clipping through it, which is what I would prefer here, as long as that floor is exactly a foot thick and sits exactly the offset that I specified for this building pad above that. So I'm going to leave my levels, but I'm going to switch this level 2 to be at 13 feet instead of 10 feet, so I still have that 10-foot increment between my levels. So I'll switch that to 13, and then I'm going to rename this top of first wall. And what I'm going to do here then is I'm going to hold control, and I'm going to click and drag this upwards to create another level, because that just copies it for me, and I'll do exactly a foot above that, and I'm going to name this one level 2. And why I'm doing that is because in construction, you're going to be working with, well, the way walls are constructed is walls go up and then floors will sit on top of the walls and you stack them on top of each other over and over. So what this does for me is that when I draw my walls on top of level 1, they'll go up to level, or the top of the first wall, and then when I draw my floor on level 2, it'll sit exactly on top of those walls as long as it's a foot thick. So I'll do this same thing, and I'll hold control and click level 2 and drag that up 10 feet. So let's go up to 24 here. And let me call this one, we'll just make this a 2-story building, so let's just call this the roof. We'll call that roof level. So now, when I go over to my project browser, you'll see that the views, I still have level 1, but then level 2 turned into top of first wall. I don't need that view anymore because I'm not going to be looking at like the bottom of the floor when I place it. So let me just delete that. But I want to be able to see level 2 in a floor plan view. So what I do to do that is go back to my view tab, and I will go to plan views and create new floor plan, and it'll have level 2 selected for me. So I'll click OK. And now I have a level 2 view and a level 1 view. So at level 1 then, I want to create a floor. So I can't see anything here, so I'm going to go to my site view instead, where I can see the building pad and the topo surface, just because your level 1 is going to be meant for like floors and walls and things that you build, rather than like the site, like the land mass and the building platform around it. So in my site view, I'm going to create the floor first so I can see it in level 1. So I'll go to my architecture tab, and this is basically where you're gonna find all of your things like roofs, walls, windows, doors, and things like that you'll be drawing in Revit, and it's all right here for you. So let's create a floor. And now since I already have this building pad here, I can just use, rather than drawing lines on top of it, that might be a bit tedious, I can use this pick lines, which is delineated by this arrow that sits over the green line here. And you'll see it highlights lines that I mouse over, and that'll just draw the lines for me. So I'll just click, 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 and click. And now I have that square already, or the L-shaped for me, and I can just press check. And now I have a floor there, and when I go to level 1, I can see it, because it's actually part of the building. So now that I've got a floor, you can see that in 3D view, it's sitting perfectly on top of my building pad. So I'd have this concrete foundation here with the floor on top. With the floor in the properties tab, you'll notice that it's set to generic 12-inch right now. If I wanted to do something like maybe just a different type of floor, Revit has these templates in here for like a wood joist 10-inch ceramic tile. So it'd be a wood joist on here, but then this top is now going to be ceramic when you view it in something like Revit or like Lumion, like a rendering software or something like that. But let's just keep it generic for this right now. We don't need to go into properties or structure tabs like that right now. So I got my floor, and I'm going to go back to level 1, and I want to draw walls. So I'm going to go up to wall, and it's just going to keep the basic wall generic 8-inch for now. I don't need to use any of these other ones. And you'll notice up on the top that it's saying the unconnected height is 20 feet, and that's because in my properties tab, my base constraint is set to level 1, but the top constraint is unconstrained. And I want that only to go up the top of level 2, so I'm going to go to top constraint, and I'm going to click up to top of first wall. So now automatically it's 10 feet, and I can't edit it because it's going to be constrained only to the top of that first wall. And you'll see next to that it says location line, wall center line. That's basically how I'm drawing this wall. So right now you can see when I draw, it's drawing it from the center. But since these are going to be my exterior walls, I'd rather it draw from the finished face on the exterior. So now when I draw, you'll see that it does it from that exterior face within the center. So I can draw this exactly over these lines then, and it draws it on the exterior for me. Now let's say maybe I was drawing it this way, and you'll notice that the wall is on the opposite side then. So the inside of the wall is going to be up here, but the exterior is this way, and I don't want that. A quick way to just flip the wall while you're drawing is to just press your spacebar, and it flips that wall for you, and it works like that for windows, doors, everything like that. Space is just a real quick and easy way to flip something while you're working with it. So I'll continue drawing this then. And connect that back up. And press escape to get out of that, and it'll connect this final wall here. Press space to flip it. Alright, so now I have walls all the way around this building, but I have no way to get in, so let me go to door, and by default it'll have this single flush door loaded in, but that's it. So maybe I don't want that door. Maybe I want to load something in like a double door or something with glass in it or something like that. So I will go to my edit types here in the properties tab. And this will load up my type properties, and what I want to do here is go to load, and this opens then all of my the Revit library for all your different Revit families. And so I'm going to go to the folder with doors in it, and you'll see that I have all these types of curtain doors as well as these folders for commercial, hardware, and residential. Let's say this is a small house, so I'll open the residential folder, and let's go with this double glass full wood door that I can see the preview here. So I'll click open. And it's going to ask me what dimensions I want it. So let's go with a 6 foot by 7 foot tall door. Press OK. And then press OK one more time. And now that's loaded in my properties tab, and what I've replaced is going to be that. So let me go back to my level 1 view. And you can see again, if I want to flip this way or this way, now I can just do it with my mouse rather than holding space if I want. And you'll see that it's going based on which side of the mouse, or which side of the wall my mouse sits on. So being that these are exterior doors, I'm going to set them to be facing the outside like this. Maybe we'll do another door up here. And I'll place this one off center here. But say I place that, and maybe it's not possible for me to just like eyeball this and actually get it centered with these dimensions. So what I can do, knowing that this is 12 foot 4 and that's 12 feet between there, so I can just do the math, and that's 24 foot 2. So I can just click on these dimensions and edit this one to be 12 foot 2. And then it edits that and it pushes the door over to where I need it to be. So I've got my doors here. Now we maybe want some windows. And windows work the same way as doors, where if I want to load in a different type, I just go to Edit Type, Load, and it's going to bring me back to where I was with the doors in the residential folder. So I'm just going to go back to my English Imperial library, and I'll go to Windows, down here at the bottom. And let's go with... Yeah, let's go with this double side light casement window. So I'll open that. And then wherever I place this works the same as doors, where you can see the way it opens is going to be based on which way I have my mouse on the wall. So I want these to be exterior. So I'll place one there, maybe one over here, and then maybe let's do some of the ones that Revit had loaded in by default. Let's do 24 by 48. So maybe I want 3 of them evenly spaced on this side. So I'll just real quick place them this way, but obviously they're not evenly spaced. So if I want to space them out evenly so that it's like perfectly centered between these walls, what I can do is there's a quick shortcut to dimension things in Revit by pressing DI on your keyboard quickly. And then I'll click the end of this wall, and I'm going to want to center it between these 2 walls. So I'm going to click from there to the center of this window, to this window, to this window, and then to this wall finally. And then just to get out of doing this, I can just click away over something that isn't dimensioned. And you'll see when I have this, it shows me all these dimensions, as well as there's this little EQ that's slashed out in the middle here. So if I want all of these dimensions to be equal, so I can perfectly center all of these in here, I just press that EQ, and it centered it. So now, I don't need this here, so I can just Control X that. It's going to warn me that they're still constrained because I used the dimensioning tool. That's fine. I don't need to unconstrain them, but I will just so I can still move them around if I wanted. But I'll just Control Z that and leave it. So that's a quick and easy way to dimension that. And I think I'll leave that here for just a basic introduction to Revit. And I'll see you next time in a little bit more detail about stairs and maybe some families and placing furniture.